This is the Our Voice 360 podcast, our perspectives, our way, keeping you in the know while you're on the go. This podcast was created with you in mind. On Our Voice 360, we'll give you inspiration, sports, business and leadership tips, Black history, and entertainment. This is a show built from our perspectives. So if you're ready to be entertained, inspired, laugh a little, be informed, and enlightened, tune in now to Our Voice 360. Let's go! Hey everybody, and welcome back to another edition of Our Voice 360, our perspectives, our ways. I'm your man, Chad Bumgarner, 1/3 of the trio here. I have with me my man, Pete Hunt.
What's good, family?
And my man, Mike Brown, the Don Dada.
Bobby Brown.
With that, let's go ahead and get into it.
And as always, our show is brought to you by Elect Graphics and Photography. Allow your visions to become reality. And CDB Consulting. Great leadership equals great results. How are you leading?
And ladies and gentlemen, if you would like to give some input on the show, what you like about it, what you don't like, and even if you want to become a sponsor, either way, let us know. Hit us up on our email address at ourvoice360@gmail.com. That's ourvoice360@gmail.com. All right, guys, let's go ahead and get into it. It is a sad state of affairs due to recent events at the Capitol, and now we're in the midst of a hearing, a historical hearing, if you will, of a president or former president being in the process of being impeached and possibly convicted a second time. Unprecedented. But it fits the scenario, if you will, because his presidency was unprecedented. And I don't mean that in a good way. This is another embarrassing stain on our country. Some people you talk to may call it another civil war that took place, which is kind of frightening. And the sad part is there are still many people out there that feel like there's more to come. So we can't let our guards down. But leading up to the trial, I know a lot of senators on the Democratic side were asked if witnesses were going to be brought about for the case. And of course, they gave the political answer and stated they would leave that up to their teammates who would be laying out the evidence, for the trial. But in my personal opinion, I don't feel like any witnesses were needed because you have tons of live footage, not only from the media, but from the people who actually committed the crimes themselves. I mean, right. Being very braggadocious and, arrogant about the crimes that they were committing and really honestly thought, so it seems, that they were in the right and that they were doing what, allegedly, they were doing what their president told them he needed them to do. And it's quite chilling to believe that there are so many people out there who were so easily manipulated mentally to go out and do these heinous crimes and really think it was okay.
Yeah, it's for me, Chad. You hit the nail on the head as far. Well, for me, it's not even arrogance; it's privilege. The whole thing was based on privilege. That you felt so bold and so privileged that you could walk up in the Capitol and just do whatever you wanted to do and act a fool and beat up police officers and threaten senators and representatives and things of that sort. Like you said, it is a sad day that this country actually allowed this former president to basically take over a party, the Republican Party, and which he really still has his hands deep in as we
Mm-hmm.
speak. I mean, because senators and representatives from the Republican side are flying down to Mar-a-Lago to get his advice on what they should do next, and this, that, and the third. So again, this trial is like you said, unprecedented. That we are at this state in this country where a guy was basically a con artist, a flim flammer, if you will, was voted in as the president of the United States, and causes all of this mayhem and destruction. And he should be on trial. He should have been impeached for the second time. Will he get convicted as it's looking right now? It doesn't look like it, because the Democrats need 17 Republican senators to go along with them, because they need 67 votes to, or 2/3, which is 67 votes to convict him. And as it's looking right now, it doesn't look like they're going to get 17 votes.
And that's really sad, especially after there was their lives were potentially in danger.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I mean, these insurrectionists were feet away from a lot of these senators in that building on that day when it happened. And for you to sit in the Capitol and watch the videos play back, because it's one thing to go through it, but then once you go through it and you're able to wrap your head around what happened, and then weeks later you come back and watch some of the stuff that you just lived and went through. At what cost do you say I can no longer sell my soul?
That just shows me that they weren't in fear. I mean, because if any type of fear, you would be one of those 17. You know what I'm saying? The trial. But evidently, I mean, it just goes to show you, America was surprised, but a lot of us of our hue were not.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
We've been saying things like this. We've been seeing things happen that only happen to others and not us.
Right.
Yes, you know what I'm saying?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And I don't, we were looking at it like, are you serious? But we weren't shocked. You know what I mean?
Me personally, I knew it was going to come to a head eventually. I just didn't know how it was going to take place. Because like you said, Mike, we as a people of color have seen this ugly underbelly of America for years and years and years. We've seen it. And we've been reporting on it only to be dismissed as disgruntled or naive.
It's something we did.
Or, right. If you clean up your ways, then maybe this won't happen. So now that it's happening directly to them on a national level now, because these people feel like they have had enough, now we are sitting back looking at our white counterparts like, what now? Now you see what we've been saying for years. Now what?
It's as they say, it's no fun when the rabbit has the gun.
That's right.
Yep. You know what I'm saying?
That's right.
Now it's you against you. So you tell me, what have you done to get you upset?
Exactly. It's you against you. You have now looked at yourself in the mirror.
Yeah.
So in a certain sense, it is a civil war.
Hold on, Chad. Say that one more time. Say what you just said.
I said, you have now looked at yourself in the mirror.
Good gosh, Friday. That's a word right there.
Because that's a
word right there.
We love to, as Americans, paint this glossy picture of home of the free, land of the brave, or however it's said. And I have no problem with that as long as you tell the truth about America in its totality, the good, the bad, and the ugly. What we as Americans refuse to do is acknowledge our past. And like I told some friends before, it's like, for those of you who believe, you can't have the Old Testament without the New and the New without the Old. They both reference each other and complement one another. You cannot have an America without the past. You can't go into a future trying to build it better and brighter if you don't know and understand all of the past. And why the past is so important, because for so many, they want to say, let's leave the past in the past. We had nothing to do with that. It's not our fault. Excuse me. That could very well be the case, but most of you benefit from a lot of the things that have happened in the past to this day, whether you realize it or you don't. You benefit from it.
That's right. The wealth, especially the wealth.
Yeah.
The wealth that so many people claim, well, this is my family, this is old money. Well, because of us, you would not have that old money. You know what I'm saying? Because you didn't work for it. They didn't work for it.
And because of us, you wouldn't have the
slaves' backs.
Well, yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
That's true.
Now, if we were able to start off with, say, some workers, I'm not even gonna call them slaves, some free workers, heck, we'd be ahead in the game too.
Because it's so funny how, and the reason why I talk about the benefits is because there was a period where immigrants were coming over and receiving free land so they could get started farming.
Yeah.
But we couldn't get it. We couldn't get it. Land is wealth, folks. Whether you hold on to it and grow or whether you sell it. If you sold it and made a lot of money and lived off that money for years and years, you benefited from that opportunity that we were not afforded. But I don't want to get too far off track. But what I'm saying is, America has looked at itself in the mirror for the first time.
And they don't like what they see.
Exactly. And what I tell people of the lighter hue, because they're like, the ones that I've spoken to, well, Chad, what can we do? What can we do? First of all, you should have listened to us years ago, but that's spilled milk. Can't complain about that now. The way we can get started, because everybody to me is looking at Biden for leadership to change this thing, and we can't do that. We got to start in our own communities. And like I tell them, when you're in your own sacred circles and people are saying certain things or acting a certain way, it's your responsibility to hold them accountable for what they're saying. If you know in your heart that it's not right, you need to check them on it.
Yeah.
And hold yourself accountable. If we're going to be fair, if we're going to change, it's got to start with y'all. We have been trying to change with y'all. We have been trying to come to the table. We have been trying to plead our case of equality and humanity. So now maybe you got a little taste of what we've been seeing and feeling for many years.
Yeah.
And so now the fix, and it's going to be hard for them because a lot of it is their own family members.
Oh yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
No
and
doubt,
the hard part is now you want to be accountable and you want to change them. Well, they've been talking and acting this way for years, and you've overlooked it. Well, that's
because it didn't affect them.
But see, Uncle Charlie has other friends that think like him and other friends, and when y'all don't check them originally, that stuff grows and festers. So if we want to change, it's got to start with y'all.
Yeah, and you said something about accountability, and that's the biggest thing with what's going on with this trial. Will this guy be held accountable? And it's so crazy, and we talked about this, I think, on the last podcast when we were discussing this. It's so funny that they're quick to hold us as a people accountable, but you won't hold your own accountable.
Yeah,
you won't hold your own accountable. Just like the insurrectionists that went up into the Capitol, you just letting them go scot-free. Well, not scot-free, but you letting them go home with their mamas. And you transferring them to prisons that serve organic food, and
you
all
allowing them to go to Mexico on retreats from work.
Exactly.
And you've committed federal crime. I'm sorry, Pete.
You've committed federal crimes. And the crazy thing about this, the one lone black guy that's been arrested, the first thing they said is, you have no bond and you will be in jail until your trial.
Mm.
So that lets you know right there the imbalance and the unfairness of this situation.
Yep.
Because the one black guy that's been arrested for this, that was in the midst of the insurrection, he was not granted bail. They were like, nah, bro, we're not even thinking about giving you bail. But then he sees the white folk,
His
they mama come,
counterparts.
they mama come and get him out of jail, or this, that, and the third, and they're being put under house arrest and all that. Nah, let them sit in jail just like everybody else.
Yeah.
But anyway,
But see, Pete, that lets you know how deep this ideology and thought process is infiltrated the military. We already know that.
Mm-hmm.
And they did a special on African American military people, and they said they weren't surprised at all.
Mm-hmm.
They said this stuff has been in the military for years.
Oh yeah.
Racism. Then it's infiltrated all the police departments just about throughout the country, because the FBI is doing an internal investigation on all the police departments throughout the country to find out which police officers were at the thing or at the insurrection. To me, it's gone up into the judicial system. Because like you just said,
of course,
there was the one lone brother was right along with the rest of his white counterparts. But everybody else gets to transfer and get organic food or get house arrest. He's the only one that had to stay with no bail. So it's mature.
Yep.
What they're going to find as they continue this investigation, it's going to go all the way up through Congress, through Senate, through the judicial system, all the way up to 45.
Yeah. And it really boils down to, are you going to, for the Republicans, are you going to be complicit? Which, to me personally, I think a lot of them had their hand in this.
Mm-hmm.
That's why they're fighting back so hard. That's why, if we're in the middle of this right now. I was watching, of course, yesterday, part of the trial, day 2 of the trial, and at the end of the day, you have a person, Representative Senator Mike Lee, jumping up and acting crazy at the end because they tied in the phone call with that was supposed to go to Tommy Tuberville.
Yeah,
that Trump called Tommy Tuberville to hold up the proceedings, But instead of calling Tommy Tuberville, he called Mike Lee and got Mike Lee on the phone.
Right.
And so, and what's so funny about that situation, Mike Lee confirmed it like 2 or 3 weeks ago. He confirmed that he got the phone call and then passed the phone to Tommy Tuberville. And then yesterday he was like, no, they said it wrong, and I want that to be stricken out of the record. No, because you was part of it. Because you were part of it.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of these Republican senators are whether it's Ted Cruz or Marco Rubio, Lindsey, they got so much. I don't know what Trump has on Lindsey, but all I can tell you is, no, I'm not going to say that.
Dancing king.
I'm not going to say anything because we might get took off air. But it's awful funny how he was talking trash about Trump, and then Trump took him on a golf outing, and then all of a sudden he's your homie. Yeah, he's your homie. See, what I think is he took him out there to play golf, and he gave him that manila envelope. It said, Lindsey, look in that envelope. Look what I got in that envelope for you.
Look in your golf bag, partner, when you get home.
And he pulled them pictures out. And I'm gonna leave it right there. He pulled them pictures out and was like, okay, But anyway, and then all of a sudden I got to go back and play good guy. And you know what I'm saying? But again, a lot of these Republican senators are complicit, either because you were silent, you didn't say anything, and you just rode with Trump this whole time, or you were out here banging the trash cans and everything, and on the microphones taking up for him.
Mm-hmm.
So either way, you're complicit. And they don't want to hear what's going on right now, because if you heard yesterday, a lot of them wasn't even paying attention to what's going on.
Yeah.
With their feet up on the desk and this, that, and the third. But
the
then
boy was tweeting something out. Ted Cruz, something about milk or something.
Mm-hmm. And then you had Josh Hawley. They talking about he had his feet up on the and doing paperwork and this, that, and the third. But when those videos started playing, when they started playing those videos of especially of the police and where the police were being treated, ears perked up from what the media was saying last night.
Mm-hmm.
Excuse me, that those same Republicans that minds could be swayed, because you got 5 or 6 that already said, look, we gonna vote. Well, actually 44 of them said we gonna vote against it. But then some of that stuff that was played, some of those videos that were played yesterday
changed some of their minds.
I think changed some of their minds.
Yeah,
because they're the Democrats, they're putting up a fantastic case.
They really are.
And you don't need witnesses.
Mm-mm.
You don't. You
really
just
don't.
As Claire Huxtable said back on the Cosby Show, let the record show.
Yes.
Let the record show. All you have to do is play the tapes.
That's it.
Talk about the tweets. Just line the tweets up like they did.
And like that, I was gonna say they just lined it like a crumb trail. They just lined it all up.
They just lined it all up from the time it popped off, from the time he tweeted, from the time they ran Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer and Mike Pence up out the spot. They just lined it up perfectly. They lined it up. There's no way that you can deny this, but you're gonna have those that's gonna deny it because they have no heart, they have no compassion. And it's party over everything. It's white power over everything. It's white supremacy over everything. And that's what it's gonna boil down to in this. If he gets acquitted, oh boy, what do we do now?
It's gonna be a mess.
Exactly. If they acquit Trump, if he's not held responsible for anything, if he's not put in a place where he can't run for election again, run for the
Pandora's box, man.
Bruh, Mike.
But let's say, for instance, he gets acquitted, right? So he doesn't get held accountable, but you got a lot of his followers that have been locked up for crimes committed because they said, allegedly, let me say that, they said that Trump told them to come do this. So what do you think about the followers? Do you think they're gonna feel like because you got some now that feel like all of a sudden now the morality is hitting, like, oh man, I dread going, like the shaman, they got locked up. Said the president disappointed them and he feels remorse about storming the Capitol now, and like all of a sudden now this cloud has been lifted from him. Now he sees the errors of his ways, and
no,
he feels remorse.
Done. You shouldn't have stormed it to start with. How about that?
But his president, allegedly, he said his president told him or them that's where they needed to be and that's what needed to happen.
And I'm gonna tell you the same thing Ruth Brown told me. If your friends jump off a cliff, you gonna do it. You gonna
do it too? Well, in their mindset, they would, because they did, so to speak.
Mm-hmm.
I'm telling you, it was Jim Jones all over again, man.
It was.
And then again, no, Mike, I'm gonna kind of disagree with you on that, because I don't think it was Jim Jones.
It was Ike Turner. Eat the cake, anime.
It was Ike. You stupid.
Yeah, I would have to agree. It was more Ike Turner.
No, what it was, this guy came in and said everything that they wanted to say, but couldn't.
Yeah.
He put a battery in their back. So it wasn't a situation where he made them drink any kind of Kool-Aid or he warped their mind in any kind of way. This was their mindset.
So he was just the amplifier.
Vocalizing it.
Yeah, he just vocalized their mindset. So they got a battery in their back. And they were like, okay, this guy, we really like this guy because, you know what I'm saying? He speaks for us. He says the things we've always wanted to say but couldn't. So now you have ginned that up for 4 years. You have made these people feel like they were invincible. You have made these people feel like they were above anything. You've made these people feel that, there's nothing they can do to me. They can't do nothing to me. And my racism and my white supremacy is going to stand forever. That's what you made them feel for 4 years.
And then they didn't even vote.
And then, I heard that too. And then you have ginned up their aggressiveness, their aggressive side. So they run up in the spot with guns and baseball bats and all this other stuff, knowing full well, 45, knowing full well, I don't give a doggone about none of these people. I don't care nothing about none of these fools. I'm gonna tell them to go down and march to the Capitol. I'm gonna be with you. Are you kidding me? And you fell for it. And and
hook, line, and sinker.
Hook, line, and sinker, and went down there. Now you in prison, and you looking at these federal charges, and this dude ain't gonna do nothing for you.
Nothing for you.
He can't do nothing.
Your morality hits.
And now you feel bad about Rick because now he can't pardon you now.
Only thing he can do is say, "Pardon me, excuse me, pardon me,
excuse me, miss."
That's all he can say. That's all he can do. And now you're in a situation. Now you looking at federal charges over something for somebody else doing. And like you said, Mike, if your friends jump off a cliff, are you gonna jump? Okay, if you're gonna jump off that cliff, guess what? You got a possibility that you might die, or you're gonna be severely hurt. That's the situation they're going through now. Like you said, Chad, now it's hit them. Oh shoot, I got this time I'm going to make. I'm going to make this time. And what am I gonna do now?
Mm-hmm.
There ain't nothing you can do now because you went into it headlong. I'm just gonna dive in the pool with no water.
That's what they did.
I'm gonna dive in the pool with no water. So I mean,
I tell you what, we're gonna watch this thing play out. But in the meanwhile, we're gonna move on over to the Super Bowl real quick. It looks like Tampa Bay won their second one with the GOAT at the helm. He transformed their team within 1 year. He got down there in his first year and took them all the way to the mountaintop. And grabbed the gold.
Yeah, that guy, that Tom Brady something. Whether you love him, whether you hate him, you can't front on them accomplishments.
You know what? I had my doubts about him because my thing was for so many years up there in New England. I'm like, okay, fine, but if you put him on another team, he's just mediocre. I was sadly mistaken.
Yeah, no. Yeah, I mean, no. You put him on a team with that many weapons. Now, mind you, now he got some ballers on that team. Now you got to remember that we talking Mike Evans and Chris Godwin and AB and Gronk and you got your two running backs back there.
Fournette and Jones.
You got Fournette and Jones, and I mean it wasn't like he was going to a team with an empty cupboard. Now let's not.
But you know what? Come to think about it, though, Pete. Come to think about it. That was a more talented team than most of the teams he played with for the Patriots.
Yeah, no doubt. So that made it even better for him.
That's true.
So that just enhanced him even more because now you have weapons. Now you're not throwing to Julian Edelman. You're throwing to a dog in Mike Evans. Right. You're throwing to AB. You're throwing to Chris Godwin. You know what I'm saying? And that game was awful. That was a terrible game. But the thing is, what I really like about it was that we spotlighted the great offensive coordinators and defensive coordinators from both teams.
Boy, you better speak on it.
I'm trying to tell you.
You better speak on it.
Because you talk about Todd Bowles, who was the former head coach of the Jets. You talk about Byron Leftwich. You talk about Eric Bieniemy, who had, it didn't work out for him in this game. But Eric Bieniemy is a fantastic offensive coordinator.
Mm-hmm.
Now you have to go into next season as teams when the openings come available. You can't. They're going to overlook them. I'm sorry. I hate to be the negative person, but they're going to overlook them like they've been overlooking black coaches forever. And they showed and proved that we know this game. We have the mental capacity and the leadership to lead men to championships. And I applaud Bruce Arians. Because every person on his coaching staff is black. I
And you
mean,
know what?
everybody
Byron
is black.
Leftwich said after the Super Bowl, because somebody asked him about that, and he said, I like Bruce Arians because he hired people that knew what the hell to do. They
Yep,
knew their
exactly.
job.
Exactly.
They knew how to play the game. And he said, I respect Bruce for that. And he said, hopefully this game will show the rest of the league that we can coach too.
Right.
He said, I'm not going to hold my breath, in so many words. I'm not going to hold my breath, but hopefully this game will show the league that, we can coach too.
Yeah.
We can coach too. You get us a good GM and get us some good pieces, we can make some things happen. Right. Now, what I don't like is when you put a coach in a terrible situation and then you say, well, it was the coaching. He didn't have anything to work with.
And that's most black coaches situations. That's most black coaches situation, because if you look at what happened with the Chargers, when Anthony Lynn
outside of Dungy, of course.
Yeah, Tony Dungy. Anthony Lynn is the head coach of the Los Angeles Chargers. They find out that they got a pretty good backup quarterback. I mean, good starting quarterback who would have been the backup. That would have been the backup if Tyrod Taylor wouldn't have got his lung punctured by the doctor. I mean, you know what I'm saying? If he wouldn't have, we wouldn't have known who Justin Herbert was. I mean, probably until later in the season, but he started day one, and it looks like he's going to be a very good quarterback. Yeah. But what's so funny is when it comes, but they turn around and they fire the black head coach, and then it comes out and said that the ownership were saying, well, if Tyrod would have played and we'd have had this same record, he would have kept his job. But now we have this white quarterback that's doing so well, he can't lead this white quarterback. That's what it made look like. Yeah. And that's why he got fired. So again, these black coaches showed improved in this Super Bowl, especially from the Tampa Bay side of things, because the game plan that Todd Bowles put together for the most high-powered offense I think we've ever seen, and held them down to 9 points. Held them to no touchdowns, 9 points to Patrick Mahomes. Held them down. I mean, it's just phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal.
Well, Kings, we're going to have to leave the sports segment right there. We got to wrap it up a little early today. Before we leave our audience, is there any last words, comments that you want to leave?
Happy Black History Month. For sure.
Right on. Soul brothers and soul sisters.
All right. Well, we will now leave you with a quote or a verse from the Bible. And it's from Ephesians chapter 3, verse 20. And it reads, now all glory to God, who is able through his mighty power at work within us to accomplish infinitely more than we might ask or think. All right, ladies and gentlemen, again, we want to thank you for tuning in to another edition of Our Voice 360, our perspective, our ways. Okay? Be blessed, be safe, and we're out.
Peace.
If you enjoyed this podcast, be sure to like and subscribe to the channel so you can be notified when a new show drops. Please rate and review this podcast and share it with your friends. Also, if you'd like to advertise or become a sponsor, please send an email to ourvoice360@gmail.com with your inquiry. We'll connect with you as soon as possible in hopes of creating a great partnership. And as always, thank you for tuning in to Our Voice 360, our perspectives, our way, keeping you in the know while you're on the go. See you next week.